Sunda Straits, Krakatau was within 30 miles of land in all directions. The first tsunami produced by the volcano had headed north, where it destroyed Katimbang, killing thousands. As was I in Buitzenborg, 60 miles inland. We were safe, for the time being.
1850, volumes 3 and 4, Lyell's Principles of Geology, Werner's Classification, Scrope on Extinct Volcanoes. Coffee! We'll need some coffee! It's going to be a long night. How could I have been so stupid? The answer's right in front of us, look. Why didn't I see this at the time? Look at the profiles. Steep here and shallow down into the centre. You see? What does that tell you?
A single common source of rock inside the...
Inside the caldera, exactly, the caldera, singular. These aren't 3 different volcanoes, it's one. One volcano. All fed by one reservoir of magma.
But that's immense.
Go upstairs, quickly now! Go upstairs and find somewhere safe. Leave the door! Yati?
Joanna? 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 Joanna! Oh, come here. Oh, thank God.
It's useless. Compass won't work in this. Want these decks kept clear. Rotating teams working bow to stern, you understand?
Yeah, go on.
Over the side!
Sailors that survived the eruption reported a strange glowing. Gases and ash mixed, creating violent electrical discharge. The lightning is dangerous. But ash is a far worse threat. Just a foot of ash is heavy enough to destabilize a ship. At 5 p.m., the Bering family headed towards the hills to the northeast, away from the spreading ash cloud.
There are many stories about the mountain, about how the spirit of the mountain broke the land into pieces and sunk into the sea, and that was reborn out of the sea, and some people say how it will come again, to destroy.
I've got it. The Javanese Book of Kings.
Pustaka Rajapura. It is our history.
The year 416. At last, with a tremendous roar, the mountain burst into pieces, and sunk into the depths of the earth.
And the next verse.
The water of the sea rose and flooded the land.
Give me the map. If I'm right and history is repeating itself, then an eruption of this magnitude will generate a wave that... it will engulf this entire coastline. May God have mercy on their souls.
That morning, there was no dawn on Krakatoa. Throughout the night, the explosions increased. A series of booms could be heard hundreds of miles away. The volcano was entering a new phase.
The pumice Joseph gave me held the secret of Krakatoa, a sign of what was happening deep inside the volcano. But at that time, I had no idea what it meant. 20th of May, Krakatoa began for the first time to emit vast quantities of smoke. It should have been a warning to us.
We reached our hill farm by the late afternoon, and in my heart I thanked God that we'd at last reached safety. But God cannot have been listening, because the worst horror was yet to come.
It started.
He's coming!
After 20 hours of constant eruption, the Krakatoa was empty. With nothing to support it, the volcano began to collapse. The resulting blast was so great, it was heard 3,000 miles away in Australia. The loudest noise in recorded history. Millions of tons of ash and pumice poured into the ocean. During a tsunami, more destructive than anything that had come before.
Landing!
It's in 15 fathoms, sir. Anchoring. Why?
Cars, Mr. Jansen. If she isn't anchored, we'll be ripped inshore and smashed to pieces.
Oh, my
It's
God.
fast! Drop the shackles now!
Aye,
Keep
sir.
the screw turning! At full speed! Get below, sir!
13 fathoms.
Tie me to the wheel.
The wave was more than 40 meters high. It lifted the lighthouse from its base. It destroyed the entire coastline. What was unknown to me then was that the volcano had one last terrible secret to reveal.
The collapsing volcano had unleashed a final avalanche of scalding ash and pumice. Where it made contact with the water, it rode on a cushion of steam. Ash, gas, and pumice, heated to more than 500 degrees centigrade, ripped across the ocean towards the highlands of southern Sumatra.
Get inside. Get inside now, quick! Into the back! Quickly! Get into the back, Roger! Into the back!
Without thinking, I walked forward. Had I been in my right mind, I think I would have understood what a dangerous thing it was to do. To leave the vicinity of the farmhouse and plunge into the darkness. I think hell is the only word for what I saw and went through.
We couldn't even bury our child. My only thought was, thank God he is at least put out of his agony. The Bearings left their devastated farm hut. Of the 3,000 natives who fled to the highlands, more than 1,000 died. They suffered horrific burns from ash and pumice. Elsewhere, it was the tsunami that killed. Lindemann was awarded the Cross of Gold by the Dutch authorities for his bravery in saving the lives of those on board the Loudon. His logbook provided an invaluable insight into the eruption of Krakatau. He captained the Loudon until his death, just 2 years later. The eruption destroyed 165 coastal villages, and it left more than 36,000 people dead. There were reports of bodies and pumice being washed up on the coast of Africa a year later. The Dutch authorities ordered 250,000 gallons of gasoline to be used in the burning of the bodies. Willem Beering continued working for the Dutch government for the next 13 years. Before he retired to Holland. Johanna Bering's account of the eruption was reported around the world. She remained with her husband Willem and soon became pregnant again. She named her youngest child after the one she lost on the hillsides of Sumatra.
Thank you.
You must go. To Kaya. You must find your family.
Yes, Nunya.
Nothing is known of what happened to Takaya or his family. There are no records.
Roger Verbeek's work on Krakatau went on to become the foundation of modern volcanology. It provided scientists with a detailed eyewitness account of the entire cycle of an eruption for the first time in history. Bects, 20 million tons of sulfur were released into the atmosphere, causing extraordinary sunsets across the planet and lowering global temperatures well into the 20th century. Of Krakatau itself, almost nothing remained. But in 1927, from 300 meters below the Sunda Straits, it erupted again. As Verbeek predicted, in his writings, a new volcano formed, growing at a rate of 5 meters every year. The Indonesians called this volcano Anak Krakatau, son of Krakatau. And it's still growing.